Thanks for tuning in today. I am delighted to be before you, and I am delighted that you are here. We're in for a great one today. I am Adrian from Adrian's Avenue, where I help you make better decisions for a better life, because I truly believe that your daily decisions determine your destiny. And today we have a topic that we don't talk a lot about, but me as a realtor, I want to bring it to you and bring it to you straight. Most people dream of having the big house, like the really big house. 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square feet. But there are 29% of the people that buy houses that large regret it. And we're going to talk about why. Most of my clients, as they continue to buy homes, they move up in price until they get a certain age or near retirement, and then they start downsizing. But most start out with a fairly simple size, small house, just like a new house for a new family or something pretty small. And then after that, they go up a little more and they go up. And as you buy houses, you'll know what you like and what you don't like, so you can adjust and make sure your next move is a better one than your last move. But that being said, when you start going up in square footage, when you start going up in price, and you start going up in other expenses. So I'm going to break down some things to you that you may not have considered and you may not be thinking about, because buying a larger home is more than just a larger mortgage. There are other things that come with it. I have experience with this. I've moved up, bought larger homes. I'm living in a larger home right now. And so I can tell you from firsthand experience that it is different, and there's some things that you don't know about until after you purchase that home. The larger houses, the big houses, will come with a larger price tag. So initially, when you go in to buy a larger house or a big house, it's going to cost you more, because your down payment is probably going to be larger, and the monthly payments will be larger. The insurance that you have on that property, because it's a bigger house, the insurance company is covering more square footage, is going to be larger. More than likely, the taxes, especially taxes in Texas, is going to be a lot more, because based on where you are, if you're in rural, it may not be so bad. But if you're closer to the city and you have large homes in your area, in your neighborhood where you're staying, your taxes are normally based off of the average price of those homes in that area. And so more than likely, if you have a 4, 5, 6,000 square foot home, more than likely you're going to pay more than someone with a 2100 square foot home. Now, the average home size in Texas is about 2,170 square feet here in Texas, which is not a small house. It's a fairly nice size house. In some other states, it averages about 1,500 square feet. But just know, when you go over that amount, you're getting into a bigger home, which means bigger expenses. And so just get ready for that. Your monthly payment is going to be bigger. Your down payment or your initial payment will be bigger. Look at your insurance. I would say compare insurance companies, because when you start doing that, and each year, more than likely, your homeowner's insurance is going to go up. That's something that you don't probably calculate every year when your payment starts going up. For me, property taxes continue to go up, and my insurance continue to go up on my home. Even though this home, when I purchased it, I built it so it was new. Insurance was much more reasonable then. Each year it goes up. That's something you probably didn't know, something you probably don't expect. But write that down before you purchase that big house. Now, like I said, people think that, okay, I'll get a larger home because I can afford that payment, which could be true. However, when you move from a smaller home to a larger home, even though it may be more energy efficient, sometimes your utility bills are higher, because you have to heat and cool and light a larger spaces. And so it's going to be higher. Try to get the house as energy efficient as you possibly can. But when you move from 2,100 square feet to 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, you're doubling the amount that you used to pay for as far as utilities are concerned. So more than likely, it's going to go up on you. My house is pretty energy efficient, but I'm still paying for more square footage to heat and cool. So keep that in mind. Just know your utilities will be higher. And if you have a larger lot, watering the grass in Texas is hot. The sun is out. It's a different kind of heat. It's humidity and very hot. However, you have to keep the grass watered. And so watering the grass, if you have a large lawn, that expense is going to be higher, bar none, because you don't have energy efficient type of, like if you could have energy efficient house, but as far as your yard, the sun is going to beam on it just like it's going to beam on anybody else's yard. So that you have to keep in mind when it comes to buying a larger house. It is more than just a larger house payment. Moving on from that initial monthly payment being larger, which it will be, let's move on to maintenance. When you talk about maintenance of the house, if you have a large yard, you're going to either have to hire someone to cut the grass, or you're going to have to buy lawnmowers and other tools to keep the grass in it looking good. Because if you have a big house, you want to have a nice yard and your yard looking good. So if you have a nice spacious yard, you're going to have to buy a lawnmower. You may have to buy clippers. You may have to buy trimmers. You may have to buy hedgers. You may have to buy just shovels if you're going to put the landscaping in yourself. If not, if you hire somebody to do landscaping, landscaping is not cheap, you guys. Even planting trees. Trees are very, very expensive. They cost, depending on what size tree you get, and to have someone plant it for you, it could cost up to $600-700 to $2,000 for them to plant it right, get the watering system in. The sprinkler system is another thing. If the lawn is large, you have to put a sprinkler system in. That's extremely expensive also. So consider all of these things. You know, you want your house to look nice. You want the outside, the landscaping to look nice. You want to put shrubs in. You want to put trees in. And if when you buy the house, if your builder does not put a lot of that in and you want to kind of change some of the landscaping, you can, but just know it's going to cost money. And so either you pay someone, which it's well worth it, to pay someone to do the lawn for you and pull the weeds and keep the beds and the gardens looking well, and keep the weeds out of the rocks. If you have rocks on your property, keep the weeds out of the rocks. Either you pay someone to do that and get your time back, or you spend time in that yard yourself, cutting, trimming, hedging, all of this. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I like lawn work and the mulch. Every year, pretty much, I have to buy mulch to put in my beds because I want them looking nice. I want the weeds to be down low. So there's certain things you have to do. Fertilizing the lawn, winterizing the lawn. There are just various costs that you may not know about when you move to that bigger house, but it's going to cost you more money. And I'm going to get to my point where I'm trying to get to as far as it costing you more money. But just keep that in mind also. Let's chat for just a minute about housekeeping. Either you can hire a housekeeper or you can dust and do things yourself. If you choose to do it yourself, you're stealing time from yourself to do this. And I know you want your house to look good. When people come over, when you get a new house and when you get a large house, people want to gather at your place, you know, and want you to supply the food and all that kind of stuff for them to come over. But if you get a big house, there are going to be rooms in it that you may frequent or may not go in a lot. However, dust will accumulate. And so you have to sweep the floors, you have to dust, you have to just do certain things in each and every room that you have. Bathrooms, how many bathrooms do you have? You have to clean those. If you hire a housekeeper, you know, they may come in once or twice a week. It is well worth it to get a housekeeper to do things like this. Now, I know that they have the little carpet cleaners that you can put it on automatic and it'll go around and clean your floors. That may work for a while. You may have to get 2 or 3 of them if you have a big enough house. But just keep in mind there are maintenance costs inside and outside of the house to keep it in working and functional order, because you want it to look good when people come over. You don't want someone to ring your doorbell and you have to go start dusting and wait just a minute, let me get something together. You don't want that to happen. Or if they announce, hey, I'm going to drop by your house this afternoon, you don't want to spend 2 or 3 hours cleaning just so that they can come by and see your house. So consider all of this. Either have a housekeeper or you have to spend time, and you can put yourself on a schedule how you're going to clean, but it is time out of your day out of your life cleaning that big house. At some point in time, things will wear out in your big house. And when they start to wear out, such as windows or doors or air conditioning units, they were going to wear out. Well, if you have a huge house with a lot of nice windows, letting the light in, let it shine, you're going to have to start replacing stuff, right? And so if you have a smaller house, you may have maybe 10 to 15 windows in it. If you have a larger house, you may have 20, 30 windows in that house. When it comes time to start replacing these things, it's going to be expensive, very expensive. If something were to happen to one of the doors, that's going to be expensive to repair. If you have more than one AC unit, and in Texas, it's not uncommon to have, depending on what size your house, to have 2 to 3 units just to cool your house off, to heat and cool your house. So keep that in mind. It's not uncommon in Texas to have more than one hot water heater in your house. You may have 2, you may have 3 to keep enough hot water running through your house. Even if you have the instant stuff that, you turn it on and that water gets heated instantly, you still have to have more than one unit if you have a large enough house. So keep that all in mind. And when these things start to break down, that means money out of your pocket to get them repaired and fixed. Because who wants a big giant house and it's cold in some rooms and warm in some rooms, or you're not running the units because it's too much to heat, too much to cool. Consider all of this before you make that purchase. Now, like I said, I am a realtor, and once you sit down and consider all this, if you still want to say yes, I'm the person, I will sell you that big house. Big house or small house, hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information as it becomes available to you, and make comments. We are growing, and I want to thank you all for pushing me over. The numbers have grown tremendously. I have a lot of new followers. I want to continue to bring this great content to you because I want you to save money. I want you to do the right thing, make the right daily decisions, because no matter what you do, every day you're making a money decision. Now back to the video. One other thing that you want to consider when you're buying these large houses is look at the house and see if you need that many rooms. What are you going to use some of these rooms for? Some houses I've walked through with clients. There are spaces in the house that they don't know what they're going to do with. There are spaces in the house that the current owner really is not using, efficiently. So make sure that every room that you have in there, you have an idea of how you're going to use it. And speaking of using every room in your house, there's furniture to buy. When you buy a big house, most ladies want every room furnished. You want all the bedrooms furnished. You want the living room. If you have a dining room, if you have a breakfast nook, anything like that, you want furniture in there. The family room, you want couches. You want TVs on the wall. In offices, I have a TV on the wall in my office. I rarely look at that TV because I'm working when I'm in the office, but people hang TVs on the wall now. And so you have all of that. How many TVs are you going to buy? TVs are getting cheaper and cheaper, but you still have to purchase them, so that's still another expense. But furniture is not getting cheaper and cheaper. Furniture, if you get good furniture, it's going to cost you something. And I would say, especially when it comes to couches and everything, my experience, I buy high quality furniture because I like to lay around on my couch and have a nice couch. And I don't want someone to sit on the couch and they sink in because the couch is a little worn. I buy my couches to last for a while. But just realize you're going to have to put furniture in these rooms. And if you're moving from a smaller home to a big house or larger home, you probably don't have enough furniture. And I know when it comes to at least ladies, we like to buy new furniture. We think new furniture, new house. Okay. And that's the way our mind flows, because sometimes you don't want to use that worn furniture in a new house. So you go looking for new furniture, another expense on your, on your monthly bill, another expense that you have to pay for. So anyway, just take that bit of advice, consider that, go through the house, make sure every room you have an idea of how you're going to use it. If it's too many rooms in the house, you all, or if the room's too big, if the house is too big, there's no shame in saying, you know what, this is not the right size. When I was getting my house built for me, the architect drew a house a lot larger than what I needed. And I told him, no, cut it down. He cut it down to the size that I needed. So there's no shame, no harm in saying that, you know, get what you want, because you have to pay for it. You have to live in it, and you have to pay for all these extras because you bought it. But make sure that that's what you want, and that you can use these rooms like you want to use them, and don't over purchase a house just because it's big. To be quite honest, it's most people's dreams to have a big house. People aspire to that because of social media. They see people out there with these huge houses, lots of cars, lots of garages to put the cars in, and a pool maybe out in the backyard, a tennis court, a basketball court. You could have all of that. You can have as much stuff as you want if you have the money to pay for it. But just consider all the stuff that's costing you. And my point that I really want to drive home is these monthly expenses of caring for, maintaining this big house is pulling from your retirement money. It could be pulling from investment money that you can use for the future. So don't be house poor, that all your money is going into the house and you can't really afford to do anything else outside of paying a mortgage and getting food, keeping a shelter, keeping your car running. That's all, and maybe paying Visa and MasterCard bills every month. That's all you're doing. That's what you're going to work for, and that's what you're coming home and doing because you bought too much house. So the good thing is you can kind of, you know, sit down and figure out, this is what I can afford as far as a house. And if it's in the range, once you figure up all this other stuff, if it's in the range, do what you feel like is best for your family. If you have a large family, if your family's growing, if you just desire to have a big house, go for it, but don't let it pull everything from your retirement and from your future investments, from your future money, because you're enjoying a big, huge house that you really can't afford right now. The best thing that you could do for yourself is buy something within your range and maybe move up once you've gotten enough equity in that. Just move up where your monthly payment isn't really moved that much, right? And you can actually afford the monthly payment. But if you have a good realtor, sit down with them and talk to them. Every realtor is not about just selling you the biggest house or the most expensive house that they can and moving on to the next client. Some of us actually want to let you know that when you make this purchase, your lifestyle of going out on the weekends or whatever you do, hobbies, will change because you're signing papers saying that you're going to make this payment. I have this conversation with my clients to let them know that things are going to change. You're going from an apartment that you may be paying $1,800, $1,900, $2,000 a month on to a house that may be $3,600 a month, $4,000 a month. There's going to be a change in that. So realize that the things that you have the money to do now, the money that you're putting in 401k or whatever you're putting it in for the future, you may have to cut back on it if you buy this house like this. So consider all of that, because mortgage lenders, mortgage bankers will tell you the absolute highest amount that you can purchase. That doesn't mean you have to go out and buy that amount. But, you know, I'm here to help you do whatever you want to do as far as buying, purchasing a house. But use some common sense, use some things that that you won't be strapped into a house so much until you can't move, you can't do anything else in life but pay that house note. All right. With that, hopefully this information has been valuable to you. Now you know kind of the hidden cost of buying a big house, and you're better prepared to purchase that next house within your price range. All right. I will see you in the next video.